Welcome to Rapid Movie Recaps. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on notifications to stay updated. Show your support for our channel by checking out our merchandise below. The movie opens with a young boy playing near the water at the beach, while a futuristic spaceship is docked further out at sea. His mother watches from their house's balcony and reminds him not to eat anything he finds on the shore. After playing, the boy goes home and brushes his teeth. When he spits into the plastic trash bin in the bathroom, he starts eating from it. His mother catches him in the act but doesn't say anything. Instead, she accompanies him to bed. Once the boy is fast asleep, his mother approaches him with a pillow in her hands. She smothers him with a pillow, ignoring his struggles and cries for help. After the deed is done, she shows no grief or remorse and simply sits on the toilet, reflecting on her actions. The mother picks up the phone and calls her ex-husband, the boy's father, informing him that she'll be leaving their son's body at the beach house for him to collect. Bitterly, she claims that the boy isn't their son but a disgusting creature, hinting that his ability to eat plastic makes him monstrous. She only breaks down in tears after hanging up the phone. Hours later, the father arrives and mournfully looks upon his son's lifeless body. Meanwhile, a man named Saul sleeps in a peculiar cocoon-like device connected to his body, which keeps him alive due to his rare evolutionary disease. His wife, Caprice, enters the room and wakes him up. He weakly tells her there must be a problem with the machine as he's been in pain all night. Caprice explains that recent tests revealed a new organ growing inside him, which could be causing his discomfort. She inserts a black tube into Saul's stomach to examine the new organ. Although it's still too early to say, she believes it may resemble an adrenal gland. Saul's condition causes his body to constantly regenerate vestigial organs that once had a function in human bodies but lost their purpose through evolution. Consequently, he frequently suffers from digestive and pulmonary issues, making him reliant on the support of machines. For example, Saul must use a machine resembling a chair to feed him every time he needs to eat. Unfortunately, this process is uncomfortable and has made eating a joyless experience for him. That night, Caprice takes Saul to the National Organ Registry office. On their way, they encounter the father on the street. Inside the rundown office, they meet the head investigator and his colleague, Timlin. The investigator explains that the government is worried about the rapid evolution of human bodies due to pollution and climate change. Many people no longer feel pain. To track these mutations, the government established the organ registry and summoned Saul because of his unique condition. The anxious and fidgety Timlin inquires about Caprice's relationship with Saul. Caprice reveals that they are a performance artist couple who stage shows where she surgically removes Saul's vestigial organs in front of a live audience using a special device and ink. They first met when Saul was an injured soldier and Caprice was a trauma surgeon. Through their love, they discovered their shared passion for organ-focused art. Saul is once again strapped to a table as Timlin and the investigator examine his newly formed organ. They explain they will mark the organ with a registration tattoo to monitor it. The investigator also notes that when people develop the ability to grow organs in their bodies, it seems they can pass this ability on to their children. Consequently, the government now wants stricter registration of these mutations, as the offspring might not be considered human anymore. Caprice attempts to record the examination with a camera in her ring, but Timlin strictly informs her that it's not permitted. Before leaving, Saul invites both Timlin and the investigator to their upcoming show. A pair of technicians from the company responsible for Saul's bed and chair visit his apartment to adjust the machines. They admire the autopsy unit Saul owns, noting that such units haven't been produced since before their time. Caprice explains she uses the autopsy unit during their performances. On the night of their next show, the audience fills the dimly lit theater. The technicians, Timlin, and the investigator are all present. On stage, Saul is nude within the autopsy unit, while Caprice wears a seductive dark red dress with a circle of buttons shimmering below her chest. As her hands sensually glide over the buttons, she controls the unit's limbs, which open up Saul's body. The limbs extract the vestigial organ, displaying Caprice's freshly inked tattoo, and the audience erupts in applause. Unbeknownst to them, the father is also watching the show. Silently, he pulls out a candy bar and eats it. After the performance, Timlin approaches Caprice and Saul, who are relaxing in chairs, with Saul wrapped in a heavy, dark cloak. Timlin gets uncomfortably close to Saul, confessing that their surgical performance aroused her and likening surgery to an intimate act. Saul grins, proud of the reaction their show elicited. However, Caprice disapproves of Timlin's blatant flirtation with her husband and frowns. In another part of the theater, a man finds and eats a candy bar left on the counter by the dead boy's father. Moments after taking a bite, the man chokes and dies. Timlin and the investigator are interviewed by a police detective interested in Saul's case. The detective is skeptical about the artistic nature of Saul and Caprice's work. Timlin defends them, asserting that Saul uses art to take control of his disease. The investigator theorizes that Saul could be willing new organs into existence. The next morning, Saul and Caprice find that he's already growing another organ. Typically, this process takes longer, but it seems to be accelerating. Excited, Saul suggests they just need to perform more shows. Saul attends a performance by another artist who has ears growing all over his body like mushrooms on a tree trunk. A woman from a biotechnology company approaches Saul, recommending he consult a cosmetic surgeon about his condition. Outside in the alley, the dead boy's father spots Saul and proposes a performance idea, a live autopsy of his son's corpse, promising a surprise awaits them inside. Saul discusses the idea with Caprice, who agrees but says they need to modify the autopsy unit. She lies naked inside the unit while Saul operates the buttons, determining the necessary modifications. Later, Saul secretly meets with the detective, revealing he's working undercover for them. The detective's department investigates the increasing cases of body modifications. Saul informs him about the surgeon consultation, and the detective encourages him to follow that lead. Additionally, the detective requests to speak with the mother who killed her son at the beginning of the film. The two technicians return to the apartment to adjust the autopsy unit. Meanwhile, Saul visits the surgeon, who suggests installing a zipper on his stomach for easy display of his growing vestigial organs. The surgeon also invites Saul to join an underground pageant showcasing individuals with growing organs. Back home, Saul reveals his new modification to Caprice. In a sensual act, she kneels and massages his open stomach with her tongue. The following day, Saul visits the imprisoned mother of the dead boy. She insists her son was a monstrous creation of the father, who was part of a radical evolutionist group. This group has modified their digestive systems to consume plastics, and the candy bar the father ate during the show was made of toxic waste, which caused the man's death after eating it. The father visits a warehouse where the evolutionist group produces the toxic candy bars. He informs his right-hand man of his plan to go public with his son's unique ability, anticipating many will join their cause. Meanwhile, Caprice attends a performance art show featuring a woman receiving facial scars. Captivated by the blend of brutality and elegance, Caprice accepts the scared woman's invitation to an after-party. When Caprice later meets Saul, he's surprised to see new scar modifications on her forehead. Explaining her desire to be more daring and open as an artist, she asks if she can lead the upcoming autopsy performance. Saul agrees. Saul visits the organ registry office and speaks with the investigator, who turns out to be the registrar of the illegal pageant. The investigator hints at Saul's high chances of winning in his category. Saul then talks to Timlin, asking if she knows about people who modify their entire digestive system to ingest plastic. Timlin replies that she has only encountered single organ growths in her career. Afterward, she tries to seduce Saul, but he rejects her advances. That night, Caprice and Saul meet with the father to discuss his son's autopsy performance. Caprice is hesitant about publicly dissecting the dead boy, but the father insists on making a statement against the government's crackdown on evolutionists. He argues that Saul's life has been consumed by the feeding chairs and adjusting bed, while the organs growing inside him are a natural process that shouldn't be hindered. The father presents the toxic candy bars as a solution to Saul's digestive problems, implying that his body has evolved to ingest toxic waste due to environmental decline. Saul meets with the detective again and is tasked with infiltrating the father's evolutionist group. The government is closely monitoring them due to their deviation from being human. Meanwhile, the two female technicians visit the surgeon under the guise of recalibrating his feeding chair. Instead, they assassinate him by drilling holes in his head and leaving him in the chair. Caprice and Saul meet with the father once more, who reveals more about the evolutionist group. They have a global network of individuals who believe human bodies must evolve to keep up with the destruction caused by modern technology. All group members have undergone extensive surgery to enable their digestive systems to ingest plastic and toxic waste. The dead boy was unique, being the first human born with a natural ability to digest plastic. The father intended to present his son as a symbol of hope, but decided on a public autopsy after his wife killed the boy, allowing people to see the boy's unique digestive system. The show begins with the boy's corpse inside the autopsy unit as Caprice delivers an emotional narration. Saul operates the unit's limbs from the wings, cutting open the boy's body. The investigators and technicians watch from the audience. When they reveal the boy's stomach, it appears normal except for rotten organs and crude tattoos. The dead boy's father flees the theater in tears. Caprice smoothly improvises a dramatic explanation for the boy's digestive system. The father cries on the front steps when the technicians approach and kill him with their drills. Saul meets with the detective again, demanding the truth. The detective admits that Timlin replaced the boy's natural digestive system with a normal one to hide the truth about evolution, hoping to replace Caprice as Saul's partner. Saul admires the father's cause and is disillusioned with the police and government. It's implied he won't work undercover again. The next day, Saul is weaker and struggles with the feeding chair. He decides to try one of the toxic candy bars the dead boy's father made. Caprice feeds it to him, and after swallowing the first bite, Saul's pain disappears, signifying his ability to digest the toxic candy bars. The movie ends with Saul in euphoria, accepting the father's group's beliefs. Saul isn't diseased but represents evolutionary hope for future humanity. Watch the full movie at the link in the description below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more rapid movie recaps.